Hello and welcome to Silent Hunter 4 Let's Play, and this is a long mission. We've just finished our patrol and we're headed to a new location, and I notice 2/3 of my crew are sleeping because I forgot to cancel battle stations. We've been dodging planes on our way there. Now I get an update about transit of IGN, but it's way out of our range, as usual. And I'm checking for the radius of the patrol. It's 70 miles. And normally in the game they don't tell you that. This is what comes with the campaign mode. And we've been patrolling for a few days and nothing happened. We got a new objective and we proceed to the waypoint, and now it's a different kind of patrol. You just have to sink an expected amount of tonnage, and I don't have patience, so I just give in to the siren call of Saigon. It's a big port, but this early in the game you don't expect much defenses regardless, and there's ought to be a few targets in there. So there are ways to approach coastline without detection, or a convoy without detection. One of them is to run deck awash, but I try to do it in this sub and it's not really possible. I guess the air intake for the diesel, the main induction valve, is kinda too low, but I try anyway. And as I get closer to the shore, I go down, I dive to periscope depth. And the most economic setting for battery time is 1/3. So this is gonna take a couple of hours to travel the 20 or 30 kilometers that I have left. Now if you move in coastal waters and you expect some kind of torpedo nets or other traps like mines, you should look through the periscope. I never do. I don't have the patience to sit here at 32 time acceleration and just stare at the screen. I don't think I would react fast enough anyway, unless it was real time.
Bearing 5.
And as I approach,
Long range.
there's a sonar contact, hydrophone contact with a warship. So I'm expecting some kind of cheap destroyer here. But this also means there's something worthwhile inside the port, so I don't really feel discouraged. I can always sink the guy, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now what I want to do is I want to put down his patrol pattern on the map, and I was using sonar for that, but now I'm gonna use visual to correct the course, and I want to get behind him, so I'm shooting from his behind, from his rear, and I take a look at him, and it's some sort of small warship, and I'm not sure what it is. That's a sailboat. But this guy could be a sub chaser, which would be bad. Now I don't know the type, so I just flip the pages, and it turns out to be a new type that came with the expansion, with the TMO. And you can see his smokestack is painted red on the picture. That's because there are some types of ships that came with the mod that can have different superstructure modifications, and in such case the mast height will change. So you're using the red painted part as a reference when measuring distance, which I don't do in this mission. I never even once measured
Yes,
his
sir.
distance correctly, but it doesn't matter, and you'll see in a minute. So I correct his course, and you can see the sonar guy was overestimating his distance. Either that or he just moved. And I want to put myself behind him and pointing at his rear. I guess it's stern and bow in case of submarines and ships, but whatever. And it's a small military ship, so he's gonna have really shallow draft. And you want to set the torpedoes to minimum and to contact detonation. Now, as you may see, and I have spotted this as well, and I was kind of surprised, he went straight for me. And I have identified it already as a mine laying ship, mine layer, and I'm wondering, because I've never met this guy before, does he have a hydrophone? Does he have any sort of, can he drop mines on me? I don't know. I know he's got machine guns because every ship has those. No exceptions.
Yes, sir.
Well, almost no exceptions. The boats don't have them. And he started just making circles around me and being a nuisance. And I guess he wants to shoot my periscope. By the way he knew where I was, I had my radar antenna up all the time, and I didn't notice, and I only noticed now. And he's trying to shoot his machine gun at my periscope, which would pretty much make me a non-combatant for some time. Well, I have a spare, actually, but still. And here we go, that's my radar antenna. And I only now noticed, and I'm retracting it now.
Yes, sir. Headlight.
Now my idea of fighting him is to first force him to go alongside me by going flank speed, so he doesn't turn for a second, and I can maybe hit him. And I keep ranging the guy too short, but it doesn't matter, because he's at the minimal distance right now. And you can see the rangefinder doesn't even accept any range below 200.
Firing tube 1.
Now the thing is, you have to be at least 300 yards away from the guy so that the torpedo will arm. It has this delaying mechanism with a screw, and there is a little turbine on it that measures the distance it traveled. Pretty sophisticated, not all that different from what you have on modern day artillery shells and similar stuff, bombs. But yeah, he just kept turning into me, and I was expecting him to overtake me at the same distance he was circling around me, around 300. But I guess he realized that it would be a bad idea and just went for 200 range and passed almost on top of me. And I assume he's gonna still turn into me, and I can at least hit him with a torpedo. I guess I was pretty frustrated at the time. But instead he's kinda turning away, which doesn't matter anyway. He's much below the arming distance, and the torpedo will not even turn onto its course.
Yes, sir.
Before it passes him by. So now I'm trying to make him overshoot to gain some range on him, to get some distance away. And I'm putting the boat in reverse. And he's gonna turn across my nose. My bow or stern, whichever it is. I have to check that. So I range him wrong, doesn't matter. Actually, in this case, it does matter, as you'll see in a second, because I had a chance to hit him. And the game is gonna lag out in a second, but you can see the torpedo just went behind him. So yeah, in retrospect, I could have hit him, probably. Now what it does, it sends him evasive away from me. But he soon turns back into me and tries to chase me quite successfully. And this time I'm taking my time, which doesn't make a difference because I'm gonna range him wrong again. And again and again. But I am at least trying to get his speed, to get his bearing correct. And I didn't set the bearing for the first shot, for the first measurement, because it doesn't matter. The second measurement bearing is taken into account when calculating the speed, which I now input. And I do two measurements of position, one soon after another with the same range, because he's in parallel. He's at the right angle, I mean, the aspect angle, so the distance didn't change. And that was quite a good estimation, but based off bad input data. And he just ran away, and I'm like, okay, periscope down, I'm getting you out of here. And I actually escaped him and went into the harbor. Further down into the harbor. This is my night scope, and it doesn't work that well. This is levels corrected footage, because I wanted to hire, I didn't want you to go blind. I had actually covered my windows when recording this, so I could see the pixels. And I'm not even trying to identify those ships because it was so dark. I really had some problems with that. I'm gonna use the other tactic, that is, I'm gonna get the bearing from the periscope with an approximate range, and then then guide the sonar antenna, the hydrophone antenna, pointed at the exact same bearing using the scale, and get the range by pinging him. And to do that, you have to be absolutely sure your ship isn't moving, your boat isn't moving. And you want to be sure the boat isn't moving when you're firing torpedoes, ever.
Yes, sir.
Unless you don't care about later errors. And you're firing a spread anyway. Now if you have torpedo data calculator, you don't have to be that careful, but you still cannot rotate the sub while firing, because there's a delay before the last time the angle on the gyroscope of the torpedo is updated and the actual firing of the torpedo, because the angle is set with this kind of retracting arm in the torpedo tube that interfaces with a knob or a key on the torpedo. It's all mechanical, so it has to be retracted before the torpedo is fired. Also, fluting the torpedo tube, opening it, takes time. So yeah, especially if you want to hit a specific part of the ship at anchor, you want to be static when you're aiming and measuring and stuff.
Firing tube 1.
So I have ranged him. I have good aim at him, and I'm shooting midship, maybe a little bit behind midship, so I can hit his boiler room, preferably to start a fire, maybe explode him. And I didn't know his draft, but I was guessing it's at least 5, so I set the torpedo to 3 to be conservative about it. Just striking at an angle. If it struck too low, it would have bounced from his belly. Yeah, the torpedoes can bounce off the target without exploding if the hit is really flat angle.
Firing tube 2.
And I have adjusted the aim a little bit to the right, half a degree, to hit his rear. And I think I'm gonna fire some more torpedoes at him, aiming for the front. With those ships you have two choices. You can either shoot multiple torpedoes at one spot to make the second torpedo explode inside, or you can just flood enough compartments,
Torpedo impact.
because those ships have bulkheads, watertight bulkheads, and you need to distribute the hits if you want to flood enough compartments to sink the ship. And if you're not certain the torpedo will strike the side of the ship, if you're worried that it might bounce off the belly, you set it to contact influence. By the way, now that I think about it, the Mark 14 torpedo was the first one to use the magnetic fusing, and I'm pretty sure Mark 10 shouldn't have that, unless it was retrofitted. That's the watch changing on the sub, and I now realize I should probably call for battle stations, because this way there's more people to reload torpedoes faster. So this one strikes the cargo hold. And there's one more coming, I think. Yeah. And this one strikes the forward cargo hold. So both bow and stern cargo holds are on fire and he's going down. This is another ship I'm aiming at because I still have torpedoes, and despite the fact that we're done with the objective, I still want to sink something for the points, so I can maybe buy better sailors, purchase better equipment. And for some reason he just he capsized, but he capsized the wrong way. I don't get it. I shot at the starboard side. And he capsized to the other side, the port side. By the way, it's called port side because it's the side with which they attach to the port. I guess I don't know how to call it. You know, it's a big ship because he's got multiple masts and all those little cranes on it. So after some deliberation, I set the torpedo to run a bit deeper. And at this point, I wasn't still sure if I can trust the depth setting on the Mark 10. So despite the fact I knew the guy was like 7 meters deep, I still didn't want to risk it, and I set it 3 meters higher. And the 3 meters is about how much the Mark 14 torpedo runs to at this stage of the war. But apparently Mark 10 has no such trouble. And you know you hit boiler room because it was a hit right below the smokestack and he's on fire. So now I'm trying to hit the same spot to detonate the torpedo inside so that I flood the boiler room completely and he explodes.
Tube 2 ready, sir. Firing tube 2. Torpedo in the water.
Or do I? I think I didn't aim for the same spot. Whichever it is, I believe he's now sinking. Now that would be too pretty. And I noticed they put out the fire in the engine room. So I just fire another torpedo with, as you can see, 0 offset angle, so that I hit the first, the same spot as the first torpedo hit. And it's gonna go off inside of the ship. Blowing it to pieces. Before I leave, I still have one torpedo and I have to pull off a trick shot to make it count. That's a tanker because you can tell right away because there is no superstructure in the middle. It's a very long ship and it's got a rear stack, so a tanker. Just a matter of determining which one. There are several types. Looks like some kind of medium-sized tanker. Actually, it's quite big. It's 10,000 tons. That's a lot of tonnage. And you may have noticed his draft was something like 8.6 meter. I set the torpedo to 9 eventually. I'm still thinking about it right now. And with contact influence fused, which is the magnetic detonator, the principle is that when you they've noticed that when you move nearby a big ship, the compass needle will twitch, and they have noticed that effect and used it to detonate torpedoes with of course they used a solenoid, and inducted current is amplified and stuff, all sorts of primitive electronics, and it works well, very well when you're closer to the Earth's poles, because if you're close to the equator, the magnetic field around the ship looks different. It's like a flat pancake, and you're running a chance of getting the torpedo to explode too soon when it hits the edge of the pancake, or not exploding at all when it goes underneath it. So the tolerances are kinda, it has to be a perfect shot, and even then it can just explode at the aiming distance because of malfunction. Like I said, Mark 14s had this system and it didn't work well. So as I said, I set it to 9 meters. And I'm hoping to hit the, I actually adjusted the aim a little bit to the right to make it go off underneath the part where the superstructure is the lowest. It's where the actual fuel tanks are. And I'm hoping I'll make the whole damn thing explode.
Yes, sir. Ahead 1/3. Break for silent running.
And we're out of torpedoes, so we're leaving. And here's the problem with the game and the graphic system. You can see the ships at very far ranges, above 8,000, but the structure on the shore was invisible from the distance of 3,000 because of level of detail settings, and you cannot override it, by the way. I tried, everything is set to high, and now I have a CO2 accumulation bug, so I have to save and load the game, otherwise the crew will suffocate. Yeah, on surface.